Hey everybody, it's JT. Gonna jump right into this because it might run a little longer than I usually like to run videos. First of all, my vape of the day today, K100 from subohm.com. Rocking the IMO W from Captive Vape. Same with that wide bore drip tip. Really loving this K100. Bottom fire. Really solid feeling. Pretty good. Bomb sauce, watermelon and menthol is the juice I'm using. Vaping today. I don't have an excellent setup. I'm going to try to turn this camera down and show a quick coil build. First of all, be safe. Take smarter people than me. Take what they say a little more to heart. This is what works for me. This is what I've learned. This is what I do. This is what I vape on. But we're dealing with batteries, and they can be dangerous. We're dealing with heat. We're dealing with hot metal and hot liquid. So be safe, be smart. Don't listen to just me. Take my whatever this is and use it to build your knowledge base. Don't just watch one video and say, that's what I do. That's the right way. This is what works for me. There are so many smarter people than me out there doing reviews, doing everything. I'm going to turn this camera down and see what we can do here. I'm going to start off. We're going to build on an Rsst tank atomizer. Really simple, really good to learn on. I build on attached to my VAMO so I can test my resistance immediately. You'll see it's 9.9 now. There's no coil. Open resistance. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Sorry, my belt was kind of digging into my belly. My belly. Stainless steel cable, 7x7. Stainless steel. I don't bother to oxidize mine. It would take forever. I don't do it. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm taking a piece of an old mesh rolled wick that I used to use, okay? Bam. I'm going to cut some off of there, and I'm going to measure. I'm going to drop my wick in my wick hole. You feeling it? You see it? Okay. There's the wick on the left side there. I'm going to cut a piece of that old mesh wick about that length. Alright, so you've got rolled, oxidized mesh. What we're going to do, the best way I can think of to explain this is we are going to create a stainless steel mesh insulator. Okay? This stainless steel cable is a very textured surface area. That's not good for nice, even heat current to run across. So we created a little insulator, a little jacket, a little condom, whatever you want to call it. You see how that is. So now when we drop this wick back in the wick hole, what's showing is the exposed part of that stainless steel wick, and it is insulated with stainless steel mesh. Oxidized stainless steel mesh. Okay? Today I'm using ribbon wire, Kanthal ribbon wire. When I'm getting ready to build, I take a little torch and I run the blue flame. I run a blue flame on that section of wire. The reason I do it, the advice I got was it takes the stretch. Whatever stretch would be in that metal, in that resistance wire, it kind of burns it off. Anyway, that's how I do it. I think maybe an easy way to do this would be to take the wick out. What you're going to do is you're kind of making a pigtail kind of design. It's a coil / spring type design. I can only get so good with my camera setup, folks, but it is what it is. And you're gonna wrap it around there. I wish I could tell you that you want to wrap it as tight as possible, or that you want to wrap it very loose. It's kind of in the middle. If it's too tight, you're going to get hot spots. That current's not going to flow through there, okay? You want to wrap it, and you want to picture being able to slide those coils up and down and adjust them after it's on. I usually build after it's sitting on the atomizer, so this is a little trickier for me. Okay. They don't need to be super pretty at this point. But you've got it wrapped around there a couple times. You've got two ends. This bottom end's going to be my negative. The top end is going to go to my positive post. On the RST, negative screw, your wire's going to slide underneath there. You're going to tighten it down onto it. Positive is the top one. It's beautiful on the RSST. It is spring capture, is kind of what I call it. Push that washer down, your wire goes in there, and it catches it itself. And you're good to go. We're going to drop this down in the wick hole, okay? These little screwdrivers are a godsend for these tiny little screws that come on all these accessories and atomizers we have. I'm going to kind of seat this in place where my negative, the wire that go into my negative kind of sits in a logical place. And I'm going to tighten it down. Now, my father taught me when I was younger that when capturing wire with the screw, you want to put it on there where as you're tightening the screw, it's tightening the wire. It's bringing it around. If you go on the other side and tighten it, it naturally wants to push that wire out. So try to keep that in mind. So we are connected at the negative post, not at the top post. It's really simple. I'm going to bring this around. You want to have the shortest distance possible from your positive or negative post to your wick. Okay? So I'm going to figure that out. And I'm not going to be able to show this. I'm so sorry. This is all I can do. Is you just pull it in between that washer and the screw head. And you see how that spring comes down and it captures that wire. It is captured. That's it. Now you want to take something and kind of space your coils out a little bit, okay? I know it sucks so bad. I don't have an awesome camera and whatever. I just don't. I'm going to set it down. What I'm doing is just going for nice kind of even spacing between my coils. I've got 4 wraps of ribbon wire on this particular one. You know, space them out. Now is when you can kind of try to make it a little pretty. I know this sucks because it's not on camera right now. I'm sorry. Okay. And I just wiggled the whole thing. Okay, can you see that? You see that they're fairly evenly spaced. They're on there. The wire is resting on the mesh insulator, which is wrapped around the stainless steel wick. You can see that down in the tank. The RSST the tank is like a cup. It's plastic on the bottom. Run that wick all the way to the bottom. I mean, it'll draw juice pretty much to empty. Vertical, it will draw juice pretty much to empty with this wick. Don't understand the logistics of it, but it just climbs right up the spiral of that stainless steel wick. Let's give this a test. Again, this is on my VAMO. It tests resistance. 0.8 ohms. Exactly what I like to do. Again, really quick, I don't do the 0.2, the 0.3, the 0.4 ohm coils. That's just too hot. It's just, it's too much for me. It's a little risky. It's hard on your batteries. It burns up juice. If you're just starting out, get some 32 gauge wire to do your builds with. Shoot for 2 ohms. 2 to 2.2, 2.4. That's a nice, safe, beautiful place to start experimenting, in my opinion. At that resistance, you're going to be able to fire it on a VAMO, on a anything, any of the regulated variable voltage mods, the SID. I mean, I could go on forever. The Provaris, you can even fire them on egos. At low resistance, the egos won't fire them. The VAMO won't fire them. But 0.8, that's where I like to be with my mechanical mods, my unregulated mods. That's my sweet spot. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and clip some of this excess off. Okay? That's it. I'm going to kind of hide some of these sharp edges a little bit of wire just so they're not hanging out there. As I did that, you'll notice your resistance might jump or drop a little bit, and that's okay. You know, this is reading at 1 ohm right now. That's totally fine with me. You know, I had a lot of wire hanging off. I've clipped some of it off. It shifts around. I might vape on this for a day and retest it, and it might be back down to 0.8. So keep that in mind. Don't freak out. You didn't do anything wrong. That's just the nature of how this stuff goes. Now, because this won't fire on the VAMO, I will be taking this off and putting it on a mechanical mod that is not regulated. I prefer to use a battery that is not brand new. I don't want to push a lot of power the first time I go to fire a brand new coil. I want to put it on something, easily pulse it, tap, 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 tap. Can you start to see some of that vapor there? It's starting to heat up. You're pulsing. You see my thumb. I'm pulsing on this button. I'm not just cranking down on it. It'll burn. It'll pop that wire. You'll have to rewrap it. So let's pulse it. You know, be really careful and just start pulsing it. Eventually you'll start seeing it heat up in some places, hopefully. It's doing now. Now's when you can start fiddling with those coils. Find out which ones are too tight. Where is it firing? Where is it glowing red? What's stopping it from glowing? Things like that. Okay, I'd like to show this. I don't know if I'll be able to. Do you see how it's glowing and then it stops? In my experience, that's telling me that's a pressure point. That's somewhere that this resistance wire is binding up on this wick. It's got extra pressure. It is not flowing well through that point. And I see it. So I'll adjust it a little bit. You know? Kick it around with a little tool, toothpick, small screwdriver, kind of whatever you have. Okay? Now we're getting somewhere. Starting to heat up a lot more evenly. I'm still just pulsing it. I'm not really just laying on the fire button. You know, I'm trying to find out where it needs to be adjusted, where it doesn't. People do this different ways. They'll build this and build the coil, fire it a few times, and then slide a wick in there. I like my wire to be a little tighter. around my wick than that, so that's not my preference. But whatever works for you. And eventually, you're going to get some nice even glowing going on. Okay? From the top and from the bottom. Nothing's going to be a whole lot hotter than the others. They're all going to look kind of uniform, and it's going to heat up nice and slow. The lower your resistance, the quicker that coil is going to heat up. So a 2 ohm coil on a normal unregulated mod will take a few minutes to heat up.